Today we are looking at hand cannons. You see guys, within my clan, and even outside of my clan, I've seen complaints for over a year now that Destiny 2 gunplay was not as good as Destiny 1's. Now the guns that actually reflect that the most are hand cannons. Some have stated that hand cannons feel slower, less reactive, less accurate, and of course they are doing less damage than what they were doing back in Destiny 1. But today's video is not me comparing the lethality of hand cannons from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, but rather the consistency. How much more consistent was Destiny 1 hand cannons over Destiny 2? Or are we just looking at it through rose-tinted glasses? Because that's something that you gotta acknowledge too, guys. We haven't played Destiny 1 in a while, and I loaded up and I played a lot of D1 for the past few days, and I can tell you something. As much as I like D1, I like D2 more now. I know, right? How could you say that? No, but seriously though, our channel here is all about doing builds, and Destiny 2 just fits that mold much better. There's a lot more depth there that we can explore in finding synergy between exotics and weapons and subclasses. But today we are just comparing gunplay between, honestly, probably the most popular weapon type in all of Destiny history, which is our hand cannons. Now, when we look at hand cannons from Destiny 1, you'll notice right off the bat, like D1 hand cannons, they had a pretty good hitbox. Not only did they have a good hitbox, they also had like really good center mass accuracy in terms of like you just aiming at someone and hip firing. Now, a huge complaint that we had about hand cannons back in Destiny 1 was that their in-air accuracy was terrible. Well, as terrible as it may have appeared, in-air accuracy here in Destiny 2 is way worse when it comes to our hand cannons. It has gotten better with things like Icarus mods, but even a hand cannon without Icarus back in Destiny 1, to me, has better in-air accuracy than even a hand cannon in Destiny 2 with an Icarus mod. So right off the bat, guys, I'm naming off a lot of things here that are pointing to the fact that D1 hand cannons, yes, they felt more consistent. They had both good in-air accuracy and good hipfire accuracy. And that's not to say that our D2 hand cannons don't feel as good as some of our D1 hand cannons, but there is a noticeable difference with the gunplay from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, which honestly boils down to two very different things: recoil and flinch. Now, both of those seem like they're the same thing, and they definitely both come together, as they both can just screw your aim up to hell and back. D2 incorporated major flinch in order to give certain weapons a fighting chance, namely SMGs. And flinch is something noticeable on all our weapons, very noticeable on something like snipers, and extremely noticeable when you're getting shot from the side. In Destiny 2, when you're getting shot from the side, you see your entire field of view and reticle, everything just get pushed and shoved over. This was not the case back in Destiny 1. In Destiny 1, you could be getting shot from the side, but you could conclude your gunfight with whoever it was in front of you. There was some levels of flinch, but not at the level that it is here in D2. But what makes flinch even worse is the fact that it actually rewards players that are inaccurate. Coolguy did a video actually about 3-4 months ago that showed himself aiming at a guardian at their chest. And when he was shot, flinch caused his reticle to jump up and his shot be a crit shot. The point of that being is, obviously, if you come around the corner and you take the time to land the first crit shot, your shot can result in your opponent's shot also being a crit shot, even if they are less accurate. And this adds like a level of RNG to the gunfight, which is no bueno. At the end of the day, whoever is the most accurate shooter should be rewarded. Now, we talked about flinch. Recoil is also something that is way too crazy in Destiny 2. If you see gameplay here of First Curse in this gameplay has 7 stability. The recoil here should be terrible. Now, granted, I know I have the First Curse perk here activated, which does bump stability up, but understand, default wise, I'm sitting at 7 stability. This hand cannon should be having a lot more hop to it, but it doesn't. Or something like this Criminal's Dagger has so much recoil that the weapon, I actually have to stop and wait for it to resettle before I can get my next shot off. And you see, back in Destiny 1, we had Bloom. Bloom is just an effect that if you shot your hand cannon too fast, your shots would become a little less accurate, thus resulting in you pacing your shots. But Bungie took that a step forward in Destiny 2, and they slapped not just Bloom on hand cannons, but Bloom and recoil, so that not only you have to pace your shots, but you actually have to wait for some hand cannons that have tremendous amounts of recoil to resettle to finally shoot again. All of these things extend the time to kill of your weapons, which is why so many hand cannons in Destiny 2 are not competitive. except the 180 round per minute hand cannons. Now that's not to say things like Ace of Spades, Kindle Orchid, and other hand cannons in the 140s that are good, but let me be frank here, 180s are by far the most dominant hand cannon in Destiny 2. And the reason for that is they avoid so many of the issues that we're talking about. They have little to no recoil. I mean, when you shoot a 180 hand cannon, it doesn't even shoot like a normal hand cannon. And don't get me wrong, I love 180s. I liked them way before they got really good. But their main selling point is how consistent they are because they avoid the large amounts of recoil and they also avoid flinch. They do a much better job at mitigating flinch in gunfights, which is why I think Last Word is a 180 round per minute hand cannon, why it's launching as a 180, because I think Bungie doesn't have a way to make hand cannons feel as consistent as they felt in Destiny 1. Because from the root, from the sandbox itself, flinch is embedded in all of our weapons. I remember reading a long time ago Josh Hamrick talking about how expensive it is to have the Sandbox team come in and do overhauls. Removing flinch, I would assume, would be a pretty large overhaul because that's every weapon type in the game. Everything experiences flinch on some level. Some weapons just handle it better than others, which is why I think Last Word is launching as a 180 round per minute hand cannon. Now granted, most likely it'll probably shoot faster than 180, but the point is that by default the weapon will be in the same weapon archetype as other 180s, and I think they're doing that because they know that that's probably the only way they can make Last Word feel consistent. So guys, overall, and I've rambled a bunch in this video, the point I'm trying to make is hand cannons did feel better back in Destiny 1, but overall gunplay felt snappier and better back in Destiny 1. Just the ADS speed, you can see how much faster those weapons perform, which doesn't necessarily make me think that Bungie needs to go in there and do a complete sandbox revamp, remove things like flinch, do all of this work. I honestly just think that they need to make perks like dexterity perks and unflinching perks much better than what they currently are. Dexterity perks, I've tested them a little bit. I did notice some frame reduction in ready speed, but unflinching perks, I don't think they do anything, guys. I mean, I am still trying to figure out what unflinching is supposed to do because here on console, I just don't feel it. But I really feel like all of those perks, if they were to work as they say they are, would honestly fix all our problems. Long story short though, I'm hoping D3 incorporates more of Destiny 1's gunplay. Well fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.